Airlines hate when travelers discover backpacks and duffels and mini rolling suitcases like the ones I'm about to show you, because they earn billions of dollars per year charging travelers like you and me for these extra luggage fees, whereas all these personal items are included in your ticket for free. I've been testing a bunch of bags on my flights and I found 7 options that let you pack a ridiculous amount of stuff while still being able to fit it underneath the plane seats, including a bag that costs like $22 and somehow survived 5 years of travel, and for some reason my wife prefers that bag over the $300 bags. To show you how these bags perform in real life, I'm gonna pack all my stuff for a 5-day trip so you can see how much they actually fit. Most importantly, I'm gonna jam all of these bags into multiple different sizer bins in the airport, including ones that are smaller than budget airlines like Spirit. Because if they fit in these super small ones, then they'll fit pretty much anywhere. First up is the Nomad Lane bento bag, which is actually a new style for me because I'm normally used to just normal backpacks. This is rated at a 24-liter bag, but I encourage you to be careful when comparing backpacks by how many liters they are in the marketing material, because I found during these tests that some bags that are marketed as being larger with more liters can actually fit less than the smaller ones. But as a general guideline, I'd say around 25 liters is kind of like the sweet spot that will fit in most airlines' personal item sizing bins, which I'll show you this one in a second. As far as packing goes, I rate this one 5 out of 5 stars because it opens like a suitcase, and you can see on both sides here, you have ample room for organization and packing, and it feels like a mini little suitcase, but the size of a personal item. It fit everything on the packing list with extra room to spare, including 5 different outfits, plenty of bathroom stuff, a small camera, 16-inch laptop, all the other stuff that was on the screen, and there's even an expandable water bottle pocket where you can fit a liter water bottle, which I don't know if I'm a weirdo, but this is actually really important to me. I hate it when I feel like I found the perfect bag, but then there's not enough space to fit a 1-liter water bottle. A man needs to hydrate. As you can see here, even with all the stuff packed, there was still some room to spare in case you buy some souvenirs and want to pack some snacks or something. As far as organization goes, this might be my favorite out of all of these bags. You have a laptop slot here, you can put a tablet here. You have clothes in these main sections, and then in the outside sections, there's 2 little zippers up top, here and here, where you can fit a toiletries bag, perfectly fit in here, and in a little mini electronics bag. Because it's organized like this, you don't feel like you have to dig through your bag like a raccoon or something. And when we took it on our first flight with our baby, the seats were kind of cramped and this was underneath the seat. And whenever I needed to get something, I could just reach down and I knew exactly where the pockets were because everything has a home. And so I could find things without even looking. As far as comfort goes, carrying this around the airport, I would rate this as a 3 out of 5, but it really depends on what type of trip you're taking. If you're traveling personal item only and you're jamming it completely full like I did, and you have to carry it, you know, along your shoulder, that's a little bit uncomfortable after a while. I prefer a backpack where the weight's equal on both sides. But if you're not jamming it full and it's not super heavy, then that would be more comfortable. Or if you're traveling with a carry-on, it has this pocket that transforms into a thing where you can put the handle, the pass-through thing, that you can put a handle for the carry-on, so then you wouldn't have to carry it at all. In my opinion, a backpack also allows you to maneuver a little bit better because it's kind of streamlined with your body and not off to the side. I don't know if I'm just super picky, but I think in that sense, a backpack is a little bit more streamlined. And if I were late for a flight or something and had to sprint all the way across the airport, I would definitely prefer a backpack to have to run with a backpack than to have to run with a duffel. But that's just my personal opinion. As far as durability goes, this is made of premium weather-resistant nylon and certified leather. And so it's obviously more of a sleek fashion piece than something you want to be dragging around on the pavement. As far as sizing bin goes, it fit in every single sizing bin we tested, as well as under the airplane seats. The only other con I can think of is, I would say it's just a little bit feminine for my personal tastes, but it's definitely the most professional looking and stylish vibe out of all the options that I'm going to show you. This is one of the most expensive options I'll show you at $298, so this is definitely more for professionals and frequent travelers than for budget backpackers. That said, if it helps you avoid paying $60+ carry-on fees multiple times per year, then you could see how that could pay for itself quite quickly. By the way, if any of these bags I show you interest you, you can support the channel at no extra cost to you, and sometimes even get an extra extra discount by using the links down in the description. You just have to click the more button. My bento bag link will get you 10% off. Next up is a weird little roller bag with a trick up its sleeve. It's called the Takeoff Personal Item Suitcase, and while I think the idea behind it is super clever, I actually gave mine away and I can't recommend it to you, and I'll tell you why in a second. You don't really ever see people using rolling luggage for a personal item because the wheels take up so much space and so they don't fit in the personal item sizing bins. But this suitcase solved this problem by designing their wheels to pop off really easily, so you can pop them off, fit it in the sizing bin, and then pop them right back on. It's rated at about 30 liters of space, but in real life practical terms, it fit about the same amount as the bento bag, which is rated at 24. The inside of it is pretty basic with just some straps and dividers, but that also means that there's more space to cram stuff in. But it also means that it's a little bit harder to stay organized. And when you're actually in the airport and on the plane, your stuff really isn't that accessible because how are you going to open a full suitcase when it's slid under the seat? The beauty of this bag is the comfort is obviously a 5 out of 5 because you don't have to carry it at all. That makes it perfect for people with back problems like my wife who has scoliosis and her back hurts just from carrying a normal size backpack. As far as the sizing bins go, it fit perfectly into Spirit and should fit in the main US budget airlines. But there's a few airlines in Colombia like Wingo and Copa with even smaller sizing limits, and it did not fit in those ones. The other downside to having a hard side luggage as a personal item is that it doesn't squish, and so if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. The reason that this suitcase didn't work out was because of the durability. When I brought it to the airport to test out the different sizing bins, I was standing there just twirling it around in my fingers waiting for Diane to go to the bathroom, and it tipped over and slowly fell to the ground, like literally in slow motion. But somehow the handle broke and then the opening and closing mechanism wasn't working anymore. Maybe I just had bad luck and mine was defective or something, but I can't really recommend it if it broke on my first time to the airport. If you got back problems though, it might be worth a try if you're super careful with it. Next up is the Air City Pack 2, and I would say that this one is the Goldilocks option on the list. The quality of this bag feels on par with the most expensive bags on this list, but it's half the price. The Air still fit everything on our packing list, but it was a little bit of a tighter squeeze and there was less wiggle room than with No Bend Lane, for example. I give this one a 5 out of 5 for organization because this opens up the main compartment all the way like a clamshell, which makes it super easy for packing. Then in the back here, you have a laptop in electronics compartment. And what I like about it is it's a floating laptop compartment. So you can just put your naked laptop in there without worrying that it's gonna break. Then on the inside, you have some extra organization pockets, a small, tiny, super soft pocket at the top for your phone and small stuff, and some front organization pockets up here, and this front pocket. Overall, in my opinion, everything has a place in this bag without going overboard with pockets. It also passes the liter water bottle test, which is the most important for me, and it actually has 2 water bottle pockets, so you could put a liter water bottle on one side and an umbrella or something on the other side. As far as comfort goes, I also give this a 5 out of 5 just because everything just feels super cushy and nice and high quality. You can see these are nice and padded. These handles are nice and cushy. It has a Velcro down luggage pass-through thing right here, so you can set your backpack on top if you have other rolling luggage. As far as durability goes, I would also give this a 5 out of 5 because it's built like a tank with ballistic nylon and YKK zippers. I hear a lot of other reviewers complaining about the zippers because they say they're long and floppy, which I agree. When I first got the bag, I thought they were also long and floppy and a little bit ugly. But the more I actually use the bag, I like these long and floppy zippers because these zipper pulls have a little bit of grip to them. So for example, if I have my bag sitting down on a bench or something like this and I wanna open this front pocket, I can't really see this zipper over here if I'm on this view. And so I have to like look over to the side or up like this to see where their zipper is. But since they're so long and grippy, I can just like go like this with my hand and then find the zipper and pull it. It's super easy to pull. I don't even have to, like I'm not even looking. It fit into all the sizing bins, including Copa's tiny sizing bin. And these small, quick access pockets at the top make it really easy to grab things when you have this bag tucked under the seat in the airplane. Honestly, the only downside I could think of this bag compared to the other bags is it's a little bit smaller. And so you have to be a little bit more conscious about what you pack and kind of have to puzzle piece things in there a little bit better. But if you're more of a minimalist, then this is perfect. It's also a good size just for an everyday bag. And this is actually the bag that I'm using currently when I go out and work in cafes and then I go to the gym. And so I carry everything in this bag It's not too small and not too big. It comes in at $149, which isn't cheap per se, but it has the same sort of high-end quality feel as you would find on $300 bags. With this material, it also should last a really long time, and what I've discovered over the years is that I would rather invest and pay a little bit more for something that's actually really nice and that gives me pleasure every single time I get to use it, than to cheap out and get the cheapest thing that I feel like it's gonna break all the time and just frustrates me because the zippers keep catching. It's just nice when you can buy something and every single time you use it and open the zippers and feel the material, it's just like, ah, that feels nice. Overall, I think this one is best for minimalists, best for people who wanna use the same bag for travel and also commuting, and people who wanna use it for shorter vacations. I would say as far as professional and sleekness goes, this one would come in second place behind the bento bag. Next, if you're traveling with a bunch of valuables and you're worried about them getting stolen and you want to protect them, then this pack-safe bag with a bunch of built-in anti-theft features might be right up your alley. Just a super quick rundown, you have these zippers that combine together, making it hard to pickpocket. And you can then lock them to this little bar thingy here. You got a secret pocket in the back here. This whole backpack is built with metal wire mesh on the inside so you can't cut it. Trust me, I tried to cut one of these bags just a few minutes ago and I sliced open my finger, and you can watch that video here if you're interested. You can disconnect the shoulder straps and then lock this with a locking mechanism around a fixed object so nobody can steal it. And these straps are lined with metal cables that are very difficult to cut. Again, proof that it's very hard to cut. On the inside, there's a RFID pocket, and they even have just all the small details are built for security. Like even this front zipper, you can see has like a little zipper guard, so it would be hard for someone to open and sneak their fingers in there. This one supposedly is 26 liters, but it was actually the only one that I couldn't fit everything in the packing list inside, and so I'm wondering if that's really true or if it's just the way it's organized. In the end, I had to choose either my laptop or my small DJI camera, and I couldn't fit them both with everything else that I packed. One of the reasons why that might be is because the main compartment doesn't open all the way like it does with Nomad Lane and the airbag. It's just kind of like a normal backpack opening here. That means it's not quite as organized if you jam it full of everything that you're gonna pack for your trip and you have to kind of dig through there a little bit to get to things, which this might not be a big deal if you're just gonna pack everything and then arrive at your hotel and just dump everything out. But if you're constantly trying to get in and out of the bag while it's packed, it's a little bit annoying. You also want to make sure that you pack your essentials on the top so they're more easy access. Still, the point of this bag is built for security, not necessarily being the most packing efficient, and so I won't complain too much about that. There's also a laptop sleeve in here, but it's not in its separate zipper compartment, which is also a little bit annoying if you have to go through airport security and take out your laptop and this is super packed. It's a little bit harder to get at and you have to unpack a little bit. There's some other organization zippers here as well, and overall I wouldn't say the organization is bad per se, but it's just more designed as like an everyday carry bag than a personal item travel bag. There's two water bottle pockets that fit liter water bottles. There's a luggage pass-through so you can put it on top of your luggage. There's a chest sternum strap as well as a hip strap, but I don't really know why you would need to use those with such a small backpack unless you had back problems or something. And then they have this secret pocket in the back. The durability is where this bag shines because it's literally lined with metal mesh and very difficult to cut through. This makes it almost like carrying around a little mini safe that you can lock up in your hotel room or whatever. But I say almost just because there's one weak point, and that is the zipper. So you can have all this metal protection everywhere, but if someone just pokes open the zipper and opens it and takes your stuff out, then you're kind of out of luck. They do have other bags, their EXP line, that have tamper-proof zippers, and I've tried to break into those with pens as hard as I could, and I couldn't break them into them. They have a carry-on size and a messenger bag size, and they're coming out with a day pack in that version, but it hasn't come out at the time of this video. I'll add a link if it ever does come out. This one also fit in all of the different sizing bins, including the super small Colombian sizing bins, and so you should be safe packing this one full of stuff. It currently costs $199, which is a little bit steep, but if you're traveling to some sketchy areas, or if you're just a person who's naturally a little bit anxious about leaving your valuables around, then the extra peace of mind that it gives might be worth it. I would say it's best for nervous travelers, anyone who's going to crowded tourist destinations, or anyone who has had their stuff stolen before and now they're permanently traumatized, or just anyone who's a little bit more security conscious. You can get an extra 10% off any PackSafe products using the discount code UNTETHERED. Okay, before we get to the cheapest option on the list that my wife loves for some reason, I want to show you the most bougie option on the list, and that is this Tom Bin bag. The Tom Bin Techonaut 30 to be exact. If you ever go on Reddit and poke around the one bag subreddit, you'll find that these bags have a cult-like following, with their bags being made in Seattle in the USA instead of out in Vietnam or China. This is the chunkiest boy out of all the bags we talked about today, and it's ranked at 30 liters, and you can fit a ton of stuff in here. You can easily fit everything on our packing list with plenty of room to spare, and that's the key. With this bag, you want to be a little bit careful about jamming it 100% to the brim, because if you jam it all the way full, then it might not fit in the sizing bins. Luckily, I have a trick for you in case you accidentally overpack, but first I want to show you a discovery I made while testing all of these different bags. Okay, so I just made an interesting discovery, and I discovered that backpacks that are a little bit bigger, but that you don't fill all the way full, are easier to cram into these bins than the smaller backpacks that you cram full with the same amount of stuff. And I think that's because on the bigger backpacks, you have a little bit of extra space, and so the things can shift around and be flexible to move so you can cram it down better. But if it's in a smaller backpack, everything is tightly compressed and it can't be flexible. So this I'm also giving a 5 out of 5 for organization, and this one is a little bit nifty because you can customize things exactly how you want them. There's a ton of these front pockets here, and you can see on the inside they have these little hook thingies, and these are spaced all throughout the backpack. You can buy these little modules that hook to different parts of the bag and kind of set it up exactly how you want and customize it to how you want to use it. But even without all the extra modules you can add on here, I like how just the base organization of the bag is set up. In the back, you have a laptop compartment with a zipper here, and then you also have a side access zipper to the laptop as well, so you can slip it out easily when going through airport security. Then you also have this massive main section that opens up clamshell style and can pack a ton. We're actually using this bag right now as our baby bag. It's probably the most expensive baby bag you could find in the world, but you can fit so much stuff in here. This is like borderline almost the size of a carry-on. Then along the front, you have a bunch of these other modular pockets, and each of these pockets are deceptively big. You can fit a ton of stuff in each of these extra pockets. This bag is a little bit weird or different because it can fit a 1 liter bottle, but there's no exterior pockets. The water bottle is an interior pocket, this front one here. And so you can fit your water bottle inside and then you can't see it. And I guess that makes things look more sleek, but in my opinion, I don't really like it that much, because it kind of takes up the other space in your bag. And if you have your bag completely packed out and full, then it's hard to fit your water bottle in there, like take it in and out after the bag's already full. You can get an optional hip belt. I have it somewhere. I'm not really sure where I put it because I don't usually use it. But since this bag is a little bit bigger and you can potentially pack more and make it heavier, the hip belt might be necessary if you like hip belts. This also has the pass-through for your carry-on or check bag if you have one, and if you wanted to, you can also tuck the shoulder straps down here and they kind of hide away if you wanted to do that. I actually think they do that because you can get it with an extra duffel bag handle shoulder strap attachment, and so then maybe you'd pack these away and then put on the duffel bag. But I've never used it that way, so don't quote me on that. It's made in the good old USA with ridiculous ballistic nylon material that's essentially bulletproof. This bag will probably last forever too. Just overall, in general, every time you touch this bag, it feels like you can tell that it's quality just by touching and pulling the zippers and doing the things. It comes at a price, which I'll tell you in a second, but it definitely is quality. And despite being the biggest bag on the list by far, it still fit into all of the sizing bins, including the small couple ones. And I think it's because since it wasn't all the way full, there's space in the bag for it to shift around, and so you can kind of shift things around and cram it down. I would say really the only downside to this bag, other than the water bottle pocket, which I don't really like that much, is the price. $405 is objectively insane for a backpack, and I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it. But if you spread that over 20 years of use, then maybe you'll be able to justify it. You decide. Honestly, in my opinion, this bag only makes sense for super duper gear nerds who just want the best of the best and they don't really care how much it costs. If you're using this as a personal item and you're worried about it not fitting in the bins and you're worried about accidentally overpacking, I also like to use a Scotty vest, and it has like 20 different pockets inside. And so I normally don't fill all all those pockets, but if for some reason one of my bags don't fit in the bins, then I start unloading the pockets of my backpack and loading it up into my vest, or you can just use other clothes that have a bunch of pockets, and that way you won't get hit with those expensive fees. One time I even jam-packed my vest completely full with all of my stuff to avoid having to pay for a carry-on, and I made it all the way through the airport without anyone noticing, and you can watch that in this video. Okay, now for the wild card, the $22 backpack from Amazon that doesn't want to die. This costs less than what most people spend on airport food. This one is also rated at 30 liters, which is about the same as the Tom Bim bag, but for 5% of the price. It easily fit everything in our packing list. The organization, I rank it a 2 out of 5, and this is actually where I kind of hate this bag, and I don't know if I'm just a bag snob because my wife doesn't really have a problem with it. There's just so many different random floppy pockets throughout the bag that they just don't hold their shape. There's no structure to them. They're all floppy and loose. It's got a flappy laptop sleeve, a floppy main compartment, and a few different floppy front compartments to fit a bunch of different stuff. This thing fits a lot of stuff. As far as comfort goes, I also rate it a 2 out of 5. It's nothing fancy. Literally, it feels like there's broken styrofoam on the inside of these things. It could be because we've literally had this bag for 5 years and my wife traveled all around the world with it, so maybe a brand new one wouldn't feel so bad, but it feels literally like there's styrofoam in here that is all broken and crumbly. So it's not comfy per se, but I also wouldn't say it's horrible, like the worst thing in the world. Again, nothing fancy. It doesn't give you that same pleasure when you're opening the zippers like those other bags, but it gets the job done. Durability, I give it a 4 out of 5. I mean, it held up 5 years of regular use around the world, so it must be doing something right. But on the other hand, every single time I pack it full and try to force any of the zippers closed, I always have to pray and cringe that it doesn't break because it feels like it's gonna explode. My prayers must be working though, because it hasn't broken yet. When this is packed out with everything on our list, it fit into all the sizing bins, but you also have to be careful because if you jam pack it completely full, then it might not fit. Just like the Tom Bin bag, you want to add a little bit of extra wiggle room so that things can shift around and you can maneuver it into the sizing bin. At $22, the value of this bag is ridiculous, and even if it just lasted you 1 year, you could essentially buy like 18 of these bags for the same cost as one of the Tom Bin bags. But on the other hand, I would argue if you're gonna buy 18 bags that aren't very comfortable or fun to use, why not just buy one bag that lasts a lifetime that's more expensive and really cool? Apart from that rolling luggage that broke when I was testing it, all of these other bags that I've shown you have that it factor. When you use it, there's just something inside of you that goes, ah, that feels nice. But this $22 bag does not have that it factor, unfortunately, but if budget is your only concern, then go with this one. This also might be a good option if you're just considering how it would be to travel personal item only and you want to test it out before investing in a more expensive bag. Okay, so one other little hack that I've learned over the past 10 or so years traveling on the road is that a packable sized day pack can also come in super handy. If you're traveling with a carry-on or a check bag, or even some of these bigger personal items like the Tom Bin or the other ones that open like a clamshell, you can essentially put your packable personal item and lay it on the inside, and it doesn't really take up any extra space. But then when you get to your destination, you have an extra bag to use and you can leave everything else packed in your other bag. So on travel days, you have less things to carry, but then once you're in your destination, you have an extra bag to use as a day pack. Since packable day packs pack down so small, they normally don't have the same amount of structure and rigidity and strength as a normal backpack, and some of them are actually pretty weak and uncomfortable to carry. The sweet spot packable bag that I've found and have been using for the past couple of years is the Air Go Pack 2, which has a little bit of structure to it, but it still packs down super flat. Even though this one obviously isn't as roomy as the other ones that I've showed you today, I've actually traveled for a 2-week trip just using this personal item only. So it is possible. I even made a video showing how I did it in case you're interested. This fits my 15-inch laptop, plenty of clothes, 2 big water bottle pockets, a quick grab pocket, and an outside catch-all pocket for stuff you don't want to mix, like your flip-flops or your dirty clothes or food. This is made of the same high quality, nice feeling material as the other airbag I showed you, but just a more lightweight version. If you travel a lot, having a packable personal item option like this one is super handy, in addition to having another more structured personal item bag, because each of them have different uses. Having an awesome bag is really only half the battle though, because you need to know how to pack it right. I figured out some pretty weird hacks over the years that allow you to pack way more than should be physically possible. Like, did you know you could turn a regular travel pillow into a secret storage compartment with a $2 modification? Or that duct tape wrapped around a deodorant stick has saved my butt on multiple occasions? I've put together 10 of my absolute favorite cheap travel packing hacks in this video right here. These tricks have helped me avoid checked luggage fees for years and have saved me literally thousands of dollars, so make sure to watch that one next. Like, subscribe, do the things. Love you. Bye-bye.